this particular Dale, we deal with a lot, a lot. And I don't know if it's like prior military PTSD and he just, as the drugs didn't help it, you know what I'm saying? He just does some really colorful stuff all the time, all the time.
Welcome back to another episode of Gettin 10A, and I have a great show lined up today. We were supposed to have another guest on here, but she has more ADD than I do, and she forgot that we were going to be filming because this is a different time that we normally record from. But it's so that we could have this guest that I've been really excited to have on the podcast, Kristen McGlothlin, aka Tactical Tinkerbell, here on YouTube, is joining us for the first time on the Gettin 10A podcast. And of course, that turd down below me you see on the screen, Mike Pontius, is back. Always great to have him as a sidekick on this thing, because he usually picks up everything that I drop.
Mm.
So,
I don't lean up.
He's a good grabber.
He is.
No, I'm not. I'm going to kick you in your asser.
So, well, and I'm going to tell everybody just how I came to know about you, Kristen.
Okay.
But when I started doing this podcast, I started seeing content, for first responder type stuff on Facebook, because I was looking and finding my old friends, pulling people together to have as guests on the show. And somehow you ended up on one of my reels in Facebook where you were sitting in a police cruiser, kitted out, wearing your kit, and telling some just awesome stories. And I was like, oh, I got to have this young lady on the podcast. This is going to be great. So I'm glad I found you on Facebook.
Yeah.
And apparently I didn't realize this because I don't do the TikTok, because I'm a government employee and we aren't supposed to look at the TikTok. But apparently the TikTok, you've got a pretty big following over there.
Yeah, it's quite large. It blew up in the last 6 months, for sure.
Wow.
And
yeah,
and now you've started your transition into YouTube. And folks, in the description of this video, I need y'all to look on there, click on the link for Tactical Tinkerbell's channel, go over there and subscribe to her and look at some of the content. And I'm sure we're going to hear some of the stuff that she has talked about in content, because I had some questions directly related to, I've looked at your content and I said, all right, I've got some stuff I want to talk about, and I've scribbled some out. So one of the first things is tell everybody about Dale and Rhonda. And everybody, Dale and Rhonda are not two individuals. They are an amalgam of individuals.
Everybody's got their Dale and Rhondas. Every city, I don't care where you live at. I don't care what kind of first responder you are. You have dealt with a Dale or a Rhonda. And I classify Dale as paranoid. He believes in all of the government conspiracies, aliens, I don't know, leopard people living in the mountains, whatever conspiracy you can think of. He's your tin hat wearer. Very paranoid, but that's probably from the drugs.
Probably from the meth.
It's probably from the felony glitter, as I call it. On TikTok, you're not allowed to say drug names, certain drug names.
Okay.
They'll kick you off. So I have gotten creative with my usage. And felony glitter is one that we coined. Felony glitter is one that has, yeah. I used it one day and man, it took off. Like people just loved it. And Hillbilly Diamonds, that was the second one. Everybody really liked that one. I referenced that in a video once. I was like, it just depends on how they cook it, what it looks like, truthfully. So Dale is my drug using local crackhead, does random off the wall things, drives his lawnmower to Dollar General, and all that. Now Rhonda, she is a gossip queen who is very entitled, been on several different divorces. She's that lady. She's the one who's always got something to say about everything. Is going to take it to the book of faces and tell everybody what's going on. That's Rhonda. And
Right. So,
everybody's got them.
yeah, and
That
Rhonda
that's
loves.
perfectly true.
Rhonda also has probably a scanner, so she can keep up with the cops and the medics and the firefighters. So she is down with all the info.
Oh, she knows. She knows more than we know.
She probably has. I don't know. Are y'all using signals and codes, 10 codes and signals up there?
We do a little mix of both. We're pretty much plain talk, but I mean, I'm still old school, so I do use some 10 codes a little
Right.
bit. Now they're trying to phase out, but
Well, you
I
understood
And
can't
I
do
what.
it.
don't. Grayson said the same thing. Rob, remember we were talking
Yep.
about 10 codes, and he said, "Man, we do it some, don't do it some." This is fire department,
Hmm.
and he works on the ambulance part time. It's all clear, but most of it comes through the MDTs, so
Hmm.
you're hitting a
Well,
button.
OEM, our office of emergency management, they wanted us to all go to plain talk, and that's just for like natural disaster situations. If we have to have multi jurisdictional agencies come together, we all know
Right.
what we're talking about because from one department to the next, the 10 codes change.
Right.
Like a 10 code for the fire department's not going to be the same for the police
Right.
department,
Absolutely.
and they wanted us to move to plain talk. Well, I mean, sometimes you cannot teach an old dog new tricks, and it just is what it is. And I very much still use some of the common 10 codes,
Yeah.
the more
Well,
common ones.
when I reached out and said, "Hey, I've got a podcast called Gettin 10-8," you pretty much knew what was going on, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in service.
Yeah. That's right.
Getting ready to go.
Um,
Well, Rob Alex Hodge, who was a medic down here for a while, sheriff of what was it, Jones
Jones
County
County.
and
Yeah.
stuff.
And he was highway
He's got a
patrol.
food truck, and his is called 1064, which apparently highway lingo is 1064 is a meal break, I believe, and
Yep.
we were 1037 for a meal break,
Correct.
and
See,
so
we always just check 10-6 for a meal break. We were going to be out busy, is what
There
we
you go.
checked out. So it's
hmm,
always different for us. That's weird.
And then we
yeah,
had signals to go along with that. Signals were, and Patrick Pianezza, who was on the show, he talked about, man, he loves plain text. He doesn't like the 10 codes and the signals. He said when he went from Illinois, where he was practicing on a truck, over to South
Mhm.
Carolina when he was going to college, um, he was working in an ambulance service, and they all wanted you to use their signals and everything. And he's going, "That's stupid. Why do I have to say signal whatever instead of a respiratory? I'm en route to a respiratory call." So, and because none of the signals line up, and what you're talking about, absolutely, that everybody's wanting to go to plain text for the ICS structure. If there is a mass disaster and you have uh, people that are combining different agencies responding, you need to be able to understand what's going on. So that makes perfect
how
sense.
long have you been in law enforcement?
This will be
Uh,
my 13th year certified, but I wasn't a cop for the full 13 years. So for the first six, I worked full time as a police officer. I started out at the city and then left there and went to the county, worked for the county for a while. And then, I would say that there's two different kinds of police officers. There's lifers, is what I call them, that's just in it. They don't really care as the laws change. They're in it for the paycheck, for the retirement check, whatever, whatever. And we don't make great money. I mean, y'all know,
mm-mm.
Yep.
y'all been first
Yeah.
responders. We're not rolling in it like people think we are. But I was a cop, and that's the second kind. Is like I'm not gonna be a yes person. If you ask me to do something, city council says, "Hey, I own 4 rent houses. I need you to go kick these people out of my rent houses." That's not legal. I ain't gonna do that for you.
Mm-mm.
Right.
You
You're
got
a
to
law
evict them.
enforcement officer.
That's exactly. I'm not going to do that. I'm not your
Yeah,
personal enforcement officer.
yeah.
And I wasn't a cop. I was a cop. I wasn't gonna do all that. So I left law enforcement for a little while. Went bail bonding. Did that for 2.5 years. So instead of putting people in jail, I took them out. Yeah, me and my
Dog
husband.
bounty hunter.
Yeah, that's pretty much what me and my husband did for 2 years, 2.5 years. We
That's
relocated,
awesome.
moved to East Arkansas, and yeah, like almost to Memphis, about an hour from Memphis. And Bill bonded over there for 2.5 years. Loved it. We very much enjoyed that job. It was a wild ride. Came back. I honestly, once I left law enforcement, I never dreamed I'd go back. I didn't want to go back. It had turned into something that I didn't like anymore. I
Right.
just wasn't a huge fan of it. And so I went to work at the hospital. I spent 2.5 years in the emergency department as a tech in the ER, and
Oh,
loved
okay.
that. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So you're familiar with
Yeah.
working with
Sweet.
us medics. You know how twisted
Yes.
we are.
Oh, we all are, man. It's the trauma. It's the trauma bond.
Right.
You know, we got to
Well,
have it.
that's one of the things that Patrick talked about on the show. He said when Scott St. Germain, Mike, asked him, said, what do you have as advice to new people that are getting into EMS? Because Scott's a paramedic, so he went from that angle. And Patrick said, look, first thing is you've got to have some normal friends. You can't have friends that are in
Right.
your agency. And I was like, well, hey, I'm good. I got firefighter friends and cop friends. He says, no, that doesn't count. They're all in the club. They're all in that
Mm-mm.
first responder club. So, but yeah, that's true. You've got to have some normal people that keep us in check because my sense of humor, and I mean, I can sit down and talk with Mike and we're talking stuff. And if people overhear us, they're like, what the hell? These are two serial killers or they're two
Yeah.
psychos. And it's just that dark sense of humor that we have.
Well, that, and I
But,
think that we also reinforce each other's delusions. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Like,
yep.
that we, especially talking about mental health in first responders mental health
Right.
is we are quick to reassure each other
Oh
that
yeah, you're
everything's
fine.
okay,
Yeah.
that yeah, you know what I'm saying? We're real quick to do that, and knowing good and dang well we're not. You can't be okay after seeing something like that. You shouldn't be okay, after seeing some of the stuff we've seen. But
Right.
we are real quick to like reinforce one another's delusions on that. And normal friends don't let you get away with that.
Yeah.
They really
well,
don't.
but Rob, you said that you got to have normal friends, but what's the first thing a non public service friend asks you as an ambulance person? What's the grossest thing you've seen as a cop? You ever
What's
shot
the
anybody?
worst?
That's the
What's
first question they ask.
yeah?
So,
Hmm.
What's the worst thing you've ever seen? And
yeah.
I mean, in the movie that Patrick wrote, he talks about that in the movie. He goes, "Why do people always ask me that? Do you want to
First
think of
thing.
what was the worst thing that ever happened to you? Do you want to talk to me about that? No,
Hmm.
you know,
A
but
3-year-old with his head blown off from shotgun, eating bullets. Do you want to hear
Yeah.
about that story?
no,
Oh,
do
never mind. I don't want to hear about that.
yeah,
Why'd you fucking ask me?
Exactly.
exactly, exactly,
It
Yeah.
it is frustrating, but I
Oh
think
yeah.
it's to kind of help you separate, like normal friends. You can talk to your cop friends about stuff like that. I'm blessed. My husband was in law enforcement. So
yeah,
I have something that's really rare that I can go to work, have a situation happen, tell my husband about it, and he's just the first thing he asks me is, "Are you okay?" You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because he gets it. It's not a, well, what happened? Tell me about it. This, that, and the other. He's the first thing he says, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And he gives me the chance, and I'll say, "Yeah, I'm all right. I'll tell you about it in just a little bit." He knows, you know. My brother-in-law, he's my boss. So my sister, she was a 911 dispatcher for a long time. I have a very, very, very good circle of people in my life that know exactly what I'm going through. And my best friend, she's a mortician. Now, I would consider her a civilian, but she has seen her fair share of
yep.
traumatic things too, working in
She's
mortuaries.
in the
So,
club. She's in the
yeah,
club.
she's in the club, exactly. I would say that the only one in our friend group is her sister, my best friend's sister, and she works for energy. So she's the only one that is non law enforcement, non trauma responding. You
So is
know,
She's
she?
the normal friend.
she's the only normal one, and she does keep us pretty centered. Do you know what I'm saying?
Does she
She
say,
really
"Hey,
does.
I don't want to hear that," or does she keep y'all in check? Really?
She does. Like if we really don't discuss a whole lot of work stuff outside of work. which
Right.
is ironic. We might tell a story here and there, but it's always met with a whole lot of compassion. So a little backstory for us, I guess you could say, is obviously my husband was in law enforcement. We started as police officers together. That's where we met. And my brother-in-law, who is the chief of police now where I work, he is my boss, but I was his field training officer. So whenever he was a baby police officer 13 years ago, I was his FTO. And then
Nice.
whenever I left law enforcement, he stayed in and worked his way up. And then he took a chief's job in the town that we work in now. Um, and obviously, my sister, she was a 911 dispatcher. She retired from that. I would say she didn't really retire. She just transitioned. Now she is the clerk for the city that we live in. And my best friend obviously went to mortuary school and she's been doing that for about 15 years. So the
She
other
will
guy that's
never
in
go
our
out of work.
she will never go out of work. No, people are dying to see her. She loves that joke. But the other guy that we work with, like I said, there's only three of us in our department. There's me, the chief, and the school resource officer. That's it. And we're all best friends. I mean, that's all. That's the only officers we got for the whole city.
That is a
You said
clique there.
700, right?
Yeah, right around
700
700.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
now,
So
You
I
don't
mean,
have
our
a
service
police
area is not
force.
huge. Hmm.
Wow.
Just just the three of us. So you asked me earlier about my schedule. That's how I got my schedule. Is we don't even have enough people to cover 24 hours a day. And our local county officers take calls whenever we're not working. So
okay.
So they're
So,
the night shift?
pretty much.
Yeah.
all right, it's Bald Knob, Arkansas, and I had to look
Well,
it
I
up.
actually
Oh,
work in
no.
Bradford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. So what I was telling you was my ex father in law lived in Mayflower, Arkansas. They're on Lake Conway. So whenever I'd go up
Hmm.
to his place, we were always out on the lake fishing. And like I told you, I sure do miss that man, but I can't say the same for his daughter. Uh,
Jackass.
well, it's
That's
true.
funny.
It's true. But God rest his soul, he's passed on. But yeah, I sure did have a good time going up there and fishing Lake Conway, and I've seen that they've drained Lake Conway. I guess they're redoing some work on the dam, and they're gonna have to refill it. But they've drained Lake Conway as of a year ago. I don't know where they're at on it now.
That's crazy. We don't ever get up that way. I mean, truthfully, we generally stay right around our area. I mean, we might get to Little Rock here and there, but aside from that, we stay within a 20-mile radius of our house, pretty much. We don't travel just a whole bunch, not around the state of Arkansas. We actually come to Mississippi quite a bit, though.
No, heading to Tunica.
No, we actually go to Tupelo a lot for
Okay.
fights. Yeah,
Okay, that's right.
we
That's
go get
another thing that we need to talk
yeah.
about. Not only are
Hmm.
you an officer, not only are you Tinkerbell, you're a tactical Tinkerbell. You're a pretty badass little Tinkerbell.
Well, thank
You're
you.
you are big into jujitsu, competition
Yes.
jujitsu.
Hmm. I don't
Nice.
compete. I don't compete anymore. I've only competed once. And it was fun. I mean, it was a good ride, but it requires a whole lot of work to get ready to compete. And it's just not something that I've got time to pour into,
Hmm.
with working a full-time job and then, family. I've got two teenage daughters, obviously, a husband, but we train jujitsu about 4 to 5 days a week.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah. My
that's
husband
pretty.
is a fourth degree black belt and I'm a brown belt in jujitsu.
And
That's badass.
I don't know where I
Yeah.
saw it, but I saw you going back and forth with your nephew about jujitsu.
Oh, he's a ham. He uh he is such a ham. And he's the only boy that we have. So we let him get away with a lot.
Right.
Um and he is golly, he's hilarious and he's big into Nerf guns right now, but he will talk crap with the best of them. He really will. And he
How
sent
old is he?
me he's 4. He's 4 years old. And he sent me my brother-in-law sent me a video message a couple of weeks ago, and it was my nephew, and he said, 10 I'm gonna go do jujitsu and I'm gonna kick your butt. And I have been playing Rock'em Sock'em Robots with this child since he was old enough to walk. Like that is a random game that we had at our house. I don't even know how, but every time he
Yep.
comes over, he wants to play Rock'em Sock'em Robots. And I don't care how old he is. I don't care that he was 14 months old. I don't care that he's 4. He ain't gonna beat me.
Okay.
I'm gonna beat him. He needs to be humbled. He has to be humbled. We got to teach him young. You know, it's just a lesson that he's got to learn. Just because I can win, I will win. And I sent him a message back. I said, I believe that I'm undefeated against you at Rock'em Sock'em Robots. You know, and he said, I don't know. There was some banter back and forth between the two of us via video message, but um he's my little buddy. He's my little buddy, but he is
That's
a
awesome.
teetotal turd. I won't lie.
Well, that's
Yeah.
all boys are full of piss and vinegar. I'm just gonna
Oh,
warm you up to that.
he is. He is,
Hey,
that's for
Kristen.
sure. Yeah.
So why don't you get this boy into jujitsu or something? I mean, there's kids younger than him doing it.
There is. Now the school that we go to, my stepson owns it and runs it, and the kids class doesn't start until 5. Whenever he
Okay.
turns 5, we'll get him going. Right now
I just
he's
think that's awesome
yes, yeah. Yeah, he's
for a bunch of
definitely
reasons. But
he's going to have to do something cuz he's got a bunch of energy.
And
Right now it's Nerf guns.
that will give him some discipline as well.
yeah,
Oh yes.
You know.
Yes,
100%.
we play with him now, obviously, like since me and my brother-in-law are both cops, and you know my husband, when we go over there, we got a little Nerf guns, and we'll clear rooms with him. So he
Nice.
we play hide and sneak is what we call it. We don't play hide and seek. One of us will go hide in a room, and then we have to stack up and clear with him. So we make him go clear rooms with us.
All right. So
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
so do you get on to him about pulling the weapon into you when you make a corner, and you're teaching him the way to actually clear rooms?
We're trying. He's not getting it because he doesn't want to get shot with a Nerf gun. He wants to shoot you with a Nerf gun, but he doesn't want to get shot with a Nerf
Well,
gun.
then all
So,
you have to do is be right on the other side of the door, and when the gun comes through, strip it from him.
yeah. Well, what he does is he likes to hide behind you and have you go first. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
he's pretty emotionally
you
and
got your
mentally
back.
manipulative in that. So the other day, my brother-in-law was hiding, and it was our turn to sneak and go find him. And he said, 1010, you go first. That's what he calls me. He calls me 1010. He said, 1010, you go first. And I said, I don't want to go first. He said, if I go first, he's going to shoot me. And I said, I know. I don't want to go first. He's going to shoot me. So
Tell him
I
you're
went into the
scared next
room.
time.
Yeah, I went into the bedroom to go find him, and my brother-in-law poked his head out, and he ran. The little turd ran away, left me high and dry.
Not
I
a
like
not
it.
not a good partner at this juncture.
No, no, but we'll get him there. We're gonna get him there.
Yep.
Hey, let me ask this question. So this rural town in Bald Knob, Arkansas, do y'all have an ambulance for the county, or do you have a volunteer ambulance? What do you do for EMS in there?
So,
And fire.
ironically, Bon Aub's where I live, so that is it's not a very big town. It's like 7 to 10 miles, depending upon city limit. You know what I'm saying? If you go city limit sign to city limit sign, it's about
Hmm.
10 miles from where I work. Now,
Right.
the ambulance service for years in our town, because we have a
Pafford.
population of about 2,000,
Okay.
where I live. It was volunteer for years. We had a volunteer ambulance service for years. And I actually started riding the ambulance whenever I was in my early 20s. That's how I became a cop. Truthfully, everybody always thinks it's because, I had a rough childhood and I just wanted to be a police officer. That was not true. I did not want to be a cop. I wanted to be a microbiologist. But I actually started being a third rider on a volunteer ambulance here in our town.
Nice.
Yeah, and then that transitioned into me dispatching. I dispatched for several years, and after I dispatched for several years, I decided to go to the police academy, and that's how I became a cop. But now it is a county, well, it's a private owned ambulance service, if I'm not mistaken, because
Is
they
it
have
Pafford?
multiple states. It's not Padford, it's North Star.
Okay.
North Star,
North,
yep.
yeah, North Star EMS. And Padford's also in our area, but they're a county over. But they go to the same hospital, our local county hospital. They take all their patients there as well. But
Pafford just took over the coast of Mississippi.
Hmm.
They just
okay.
they're down on the coast now in Mississippi.
Just they took over the state.
Did they?
Damn
Well,
near.
there's a bunch here too. I mean, the Padford's a big EMS service here. North
Hmm.
Star pretty much just takes care of White County. I'm sure they've got some other places, but I've not ever seen any. But that's our main ambulance service. But now they have, I would say, taken over the volunteer service, and they keep a crew in there full time now at the Bay.
So you don't work with them no more?
No, just as a police officer. I actually did have to ride the ambulance with them last week. I had to do breaths on the way to the hospital. I had to park my police car and ride the
bag
truck
for them.
and bag for them. Yeah.
Robbie, how many cops we've had on this show? 3 or 4?
Yep, 3.
A few?
3. Yep.
A story just popped into my damn head, and
Let's
I
hear
just
it.
had to chuckle about it. And it may not happen, Kristen, in your smaller towns, but there was this one particular arsehole of a cop down here who did not like the ambulances at all. And his favorite thing was, if you don't go with that ambulance, you're going to jail.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's ready to jump in the back of the ambulance. There wasn't nothing wrong with this sumbitch. Nothing wrong with him. And I knew Officer Richard was fixing to do his, you go with them or you going to jail. He says, you need to go with them or you going to jail. I said, look, you probably want to go with him because I'm fixing to put a big old needle in your arm and put a tube down your throat. I ain't going with him in that ambulance, officer. Take me to jail. He took him to jail. We get up to the hospital. He came on another call. He says, you son of a bitch, you knew what I was going to say. I said, yeah, and they didn't need to go in an ambulance and tie it up, so I'm glad you took him to the jail. He said, I didn't even take him in. I put him in there, talked to him for a minute. He called his mother. She came and picked him up. I said, thank you. He never did it again.
I'm not going to lie to you. I cannot stand when police officers use EMS as a taxi service.
Oh,
That
piss me off.
is BS. I understand. I totally get it. I
Well,
totally get it.
That's the ABCs of police work.
Ugh.
Ambulance before cruiser.
Maybe for some, not for me. I can promise you
Rob,
that.
he did it. Every freaking bullshit car wreck or every drunk that fell down and was sitting on the ground, he would say, you go with them, you're going to jail. And I'd had my fill of it, and I don't know where it came from, but I literally told that dude, you was getting a big old needle and a tube down your throat, and he literally jumped in that cop car.
No. See, he deserved what he got. It was his time. It was his time.
That was your Dale.
Yes, it was. So I've actually been on service calls with EMS before where, I know y'all have got a certain criteria that has to be met before y'all can transport for, mental patients and stuff like this. But it's been twice in the recent past that it has been a mental call where it was a guy that was, I think he was deprived of oxygen and had some mental brain issues.
Traumatic
but he
brain
was
injury.
Yeah. So he had he would get almost like sundowners, and would just wander out in the road. Now this is way out in the county. It wasn't even remotely close to the city, but because our place is so rural, we take a lot of calls out in the county. And I just so happened to go back some county officers up on this guy walking in the highway, and EMS came and they refused to transport him. They said that he didn't meet the criteria for harm. And I was like, man, he's literally walking in the middle of the road. He's a danger to himself, And so they didn't want to take him. And I said they didn't want to take him. They wanted him to go with he was in his 50s. I mean, he wasn't old, but he wasn't young. Right. And something wasn't right. He was nonverbal. He couldn't talk to you. Mm-hmm. And their words is he can't tell us what's wrong with him, so we have no reason to transport. And I was like, oh my, yeah, that's not great. And I said, no. I said, well, I'm going to take him myself then. Like and they were like, they're not going to take him at the emergency room. Now, mind you, I'd worked 2 years in the emergency room,
right? And
I know they'll take you. So I said, all right, that's fine. I called over there and I said, hey, let me talk to one of the emergency room doctors, find out who's working. And I called one of them. I knew him. He knew me. I said, this is the situation I'm in right now. He said, no. He said, sounds like he's a danger to himself. Bring him on over here. And I said, all right. So I loaded him up and I took him to the hospital myself. But to me, that was
100%.
crazy. I mean, that was one of them times that I was like, y'all, I don't think this is right. I mean, I was just an assisting agency and I'm not one to insert myself on somebody else's scene, but I could not in good faith just let that man continue to walk wherever he was headed. He could have
Right.
got, I mean, it was midnight, he's going to get hit by a car.
Yeah, there ain't nothing safe about leaving that guy alone, and for them to
Mm-mm.
not recognize that is classic somebody who don't want to do their damn job.
That's what I was going to say. I don't like to throw stones, but I mean, it was pretty apparent that y'all just don't want to mess with him, you know?
Look, there's bad cops, there's bad firemen, there's bad paramedics, there's bad nurses, there's bad doctors, but
Mm-hmm.
those few bad ones are far outweighed by the ones that really give a damn about what they do and care about what they do and want to make you live in a safer town or make sure I can save the cat out of the tree or
Mm-hmm.
stole your family. There's people that want to that do that. And I think that was probably the mindset, Rob, what you alluded to earlier, that, it, it was a job, but it was not they don't train you in paramedic school or EMT school how to talk to people. Everybody's got their
Mm-hmm.
own personality and they deal with situations differently. And I'm not saying I could sit down with a parent who had just lost a 2-year-old to crib death or whatever, but I've done it and talked to them and hugged them and stayed in touch with them. So somewhere along the way, I guess it's personalities that make or break uh, your ability to
Cope.
let it go. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I can only speak from personal experience. I think leaving law enforcement was probably one of the best things that could have ever have happened to me because the cop that I was in my first 6 years of law enforcement, I don't even know who she is now.
Damn.
And it's from spending 2 years in the emergency room where, nobody really wants to come to the ER at all. I mean, there are some people that come there because they want, pain medicine or whatever. But I mean, we were a level 1 trauma center. So, I mean,
Mhm.
I saw a lot while I was there. And I truly wanted to go to nursing school. I genuinely was like, man, God was telling me before I even became a cop, because I was on the ambulance, that this is what I should have been doing. And then I left and kind of went my own way, and now I'm back at the hospital. I should probably go to nursing school, but I prayed about it and prayed about it. And then my
Well,
brother-in-law called me
go.
and well, he called me and he said, hey, do you want to come to work for me? I took this chief's job. And I said, absolutely not. No, I don't. I don't want to go back. But I prayed on that. And then God enlightened me, hey, this needs to be your mission field. Like
Do it.
I'd been curious as to I knew that God was putting a calling on my life, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't have the discernment yet to decide what that calling was going to be. And I think a lot of people forget that this is our mission field.
Absolutely.
Not all mission work looks like Africa or a third world country where you're going
Yep.
and building churches. I mean, literally, we get to meet people on some of the worst days of their life every single day. And what better way to spread the love of God than to meet them where they're at in their struggle
And
and to
help
see
them.
them? Yes, and help them. And so, like, my new season of law enforcement has been teetotally different than my prior 6 years of law enforcement. So,
You figured it out. A lot of people go 25, 30 years and are just
mm-hmm,
complete assholes, and they should have quit 24 years ago.
yep,
Well,
But
but
you
you
figured it out and you appreciate it. And like you
mm-hmm.
said, riding the pine, what you call them, a retirement cop versus a cop. And cops are good. Retirement cops generally probably should have left a few years ago.
They should. And I believe that with all my heart. I think that you see so much. It does change who you are. Being in this line of work will change you. And
Absolutely.
it can but you get to choose how it changes you. You know, I do think that to an extent you get to choose. You can choose to let it ruin you as a person and to see humanity as a lost cause, or you can say, hey, man, I have a chance to step in and help and genuinely help.
Yep.
But you can't look at it like I have to go to work. This is one thing that changed for me specifically is we have a tendency to mismanage answered prayers. And for so long, I prayed whenever I was in the police academy, like, Lord, please just let me get through the police academy. I was gone for 13 weeks. I missed my family. He answered that prayer. And
Hmm.
then if I mismanage it by complaining about the shifts that I have to work or the people that I have to work with, God heard me and answered my prayer. It's my diligence to make it what it's supposed to be. I shouldn't mismanage that answered prayer. And that's where I've been at with this season of law enforcement is trying really hard to not mismanage an answered prayer. I sought the Lord, he heard me and he answered
Hmm.
because I asked him what he wanted me to do. He said, go here. Now I'm to go here to do what? To
Help.
shepherd and to help these people. So that's what I'm going to do. Are they always easy to help? Heck no. No, they ain't. No, they ain't. And that's, he's manifested that to me now. And I think that if we would just do better at shepherding our calling, that a lot of us could change how people view us and, we view ourselves and view each other, truthfully.
Well, when God puts you where He wants you, He will give you the strength to get done what needs to be done. And one of the things, you have matured in your law enforcement. That break that you took from
Hmm.
law enforcement, when you came back as a mature, emotionally and mentally adjusted. I'm back into police work. I'm going to bring it from somebody that is centered emotionally and mentally to do
Yeah,
that. And you're doing that with the strength of the Lord.
agreed. 100%.
Look, the physical
100%.
part's one part. It's the mental part that a lot of people, uh, you know, they hate doing their job. We're just talking about law enforcement, Joe. They hate doing their job because everybody's an ass and don't respect them. And well, you know
Hmm.
what? Kindness. I kill people with kindness, and
Hmm.
eventually they're gonna appreciate the kindness. And you get called on an ambulance. You hadn't slept in 14 hours and you hadn't eaten in 12 hours and it's raining and you just lay down in the bed and this lady's toe hurts and you got to go to the house.
Yep.
All she wants you to do is make a damn bowl of soup for her. Well, is it going to kill you to make that bowl of soup and make her happy? No, it's not. So make the damn soup, suck it
Hmm.
up, put a smile on, and thank her. And you're going to wake up one day and realize that you did that because you cared. So
Exactly.
if there's too many public service, from the political all the way down to the public servant, first responders that don't care. And I think what you just said is probably pretty accurate about, somebody pushed you there and you appreciate it now. So
Hmm.
I'm
Very
glad you
much
came
so.
back in.
I am too. I am too. I can see God working
Yep.
and in ways that I never dreamed. Like, I've given my testimony a couple different times on a couple different podcasts, and that has been terrifying but amazing all in the same breath. And it's because I was working at the hospital. I was working 12-hour shifts. I worked 6A to 6P. I didn't have time to create content. And then because God brought me back into law enforcement, I have a lot of downtime. I mean, we live in a very small town. I mean, it's tiny.
It's not a
We take
hotbed
our
of legal
it's
activity.
it's not. It's not. I get to sit at the four-way and I can see all four directions of the highway coming. We've got our local 7 or 8 Dale and Rhondas that we deal with on a regular basis.
Hey, I got to
During
jump off real quick and I'll call you right back.
All right.
I'll call right.
but I mean, it's one of those situations that I was very fortunate to have all this downtime. So what did I do? I started making videos and then, God opened that door for social media to become a thing for me. And then he put on my heart to start witnessing and giving my testimony here and talking to people about this. And managed to go from working at the hospital and having no time to create content to God opening the door once I came back to law enforcement.
Okay.
So it's because of that, me transitioning from going from the hospital back into policing that I had all this downtime. And now I was able to make content. But my original plan, once God opened the door, and my TikTok, literally, it was over a
Mm-hmm.
24-hour period. Like, I went from having like 1,300 followers overnight to having over 20,000, like literally overnight. And that was whenever I pray, I'm a Doubting Thomas. So I tell God that He understands that I'm not the smartest. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of common sense, but I need direct answers. And I told him, I said, I need you to show me what it is you want me to do. That was a pretty blatant,
This is
hey,
what I want you to
this is
do.
what you're going to do. All right. And I was like, never in my wildest dreams did I think that God would use social media. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I
Never.
100% get it.
And literally, when I say literally overnight, I mean that. And I was like, okay, I see you, God. So I started making videos, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? And it was to bridge the gap between what people have of this misconception about police and bad cops and the criminal community. Like, I wanted to go and witness to people at rehabs and tell them that I'm proud of them. My my mom, she was an addict for years, like years and years. And people when they learn that about me, they're like, oh, that's why she wanted to become a cop, is
Yeah.
to rebel against my mom's addiction and this, that, and the other. Absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
But in my first 6 years as a law enforcement officer, I became a full-blown alcoholic. Like, I mean, I was drinking whenever I would get off shift to go to sleep, and then before I knew it, I was drinking through the day. And then after that, I was just drinking to drink. I'd become an alcoholic. And I
Wow.
blamed a lot of it on things that I'd seen. I was just needing it to go to bed because I was on night shift, all the excuses that people make whenever they have
Yep.
an addiction. But I got sober. So that stuff is very personal to me. Do you know
How
what I
long has
mean?
that
And
been? So,
that's been 8 years. It's been 8 years. Thank you.
Great
So
job.
yeah. Like that area of my life is very has created the person that I am now. Do you know what I mean? I had to go through that to get to where I am.
mhm.
And I am far more empathetic to people's situations because of the things that I've gone through. So that is my mission. Like, I want people to know that even as a cop, you can have a full-blown addiction and still function, and you can get yourself out of it. And that's important to me, you
Look,
know.
you say that there's a ton. I don't know what the percent number is, but I would venture to say that let's just throw cops and fire and EMS all in the same boat. I bet 50% of them have a problem of some sort.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
Maybe
absolutely.
100%.
more.
Better than
Maybe more.
50%.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean,
and they do their job every day. So some are functional, some aren't functional. That's where you get into deep crap when you
Mhm.
have the drinking on the job or drunk at work or under the influence of something at work. That's when it
Yeah.
crosses the line between a controlled problem versus an uncontrolled problem. And uncontrolled is way out of whack.
Well, whenever I was bail bonding, we had to go get a guy out of a jail close to Memphis, and he wasn't what I would say your normal type. There's normally a type whenever you go get people out of jail and you see the charges that they have and what they're going to look like, and he didn't meet any of the criteria. And so we always chit chatted with them. We're not judgmental people. My husband and I, we just, chit chat and talk to people. We want to hear your story. We want to know about your life. And I asked him, I was like, man, I mean, he was facing some pretty heavy felony charges, like felony possession, felony theft. And, it was for stealing controlled substance. So, like, he had stolen some pills and some narcotic medication. And I said, man, what do you do? And he said, I'm a paramedic. And I said, really? I said, how is this going to affect your job? And he said, it's not. And I was like, it, he said,
Bull crap.
until I'm formally convicted. He said, it's not. He said, they're not going to let me on the truck, obviously, but he had stolen the narcotics off the bus. Like, that's where, and they'd filed charges against him and written the warrants, and he had ended up getting bonded. But he had a substance addiction that started on the ambulance. And to me, I was like, man, I always encouraged everybody to go to rehab.
Mhm.
I said, my advice to you would be to find a good rehab close to your house, take the necessary steps to get yourself back right.
Today.
it was always so hard, and it still is. Don't get me wrong. I feel bad for the people that are not first responders, but it's even because I lived it. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mm-hmm.
hard for me to see first responders go through addiction because I get it. I understand where you're at mentally. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me
I
ask you
get it.
this. Did you go through rehab or did you just quit drinking when you said you were an alcoholic?
I just quit. I was drinking, I don't know, probably three three mixed drinks a day at least. My ex and I would go through about a fifth of vodka every 2 days. So I
Yeah.
mean, when I say we were drinking, we were drinking.
You were drinking.
Yeah, we were drinking. And I mean, I did it whether I had to go to work or not. And specifically whenever I was a deputy, like I remember one morning, I came to work and I was like, I think I'm still drunk. Like I'm pretty sure I'm still drunk. I had to be at work at 5:30, and I had the deputy that was coming off shift PBT me before I came
And
to work.
did
Like
you
I
fail?
mean, when I say I had a problem, I had a problem, and it was bad. I mean, I lost a lot. Like I lost my kids. I mean, I lost a lot during this
Mm-hmm.
time, and I was in active addiction. I had no remorse for what I was doing. I had no level of accountability whatsoever. I fell back on the fact that I was a police officer, so I could get away with it, and that was just my
Part of the
mentality.
club,
You know,
the
I
blue
was,
club.
yeah, and that's exactly what my mentality was. But
That's
I
awesome.
made a
Eight
decision
years
one
is
day.
phenomenal.
I mean, I truly, I'd been raised in church my entire life. So I knew that what I was doing was wrong. I knew that the way I was living my life was wrong. And I'll tell everybody, even to this day, I would not hit my knees on my own. So God brought me to them. And that's where I was. And one day I just decided, I was like, man, I can't live like this no more. So I quit smoking. I was smoking about a pack a day. I quit smoking. I quit
A
drinking.
woman
I know it's shocking. A cop that smokes.
I
and
think that
drinks
was
a
a
fifth
Yeah,
every 2 days.
that's
I think
right.
that
So,
was a requirement for medics in the 80s. We all smoked back then.
yes.
Except you,
I
Um,
never
Pontius, you
smoked a
didn't.
cigarette, Rob.
Uh-uh.
I quit smoking, I quit drinking, and I went on the keto diet all in the same day. I said if I'm going to be a hateful heifer, I'm not going to know what caused it at
You
all.
might
I'm
as
just
well
going to
do it all at one
Yeah,
time.
I'm going to full send it. If people are going to get sick of me, I can promise you they're going to be tired of me by the end of the week. And I did. I just quit. I gave it up all cold turkey, all of
What
it.
about the jujitsu? Was that part of your recovery?
It was not. So the jujitsu came. I'd been back in law enforcement for no, I had not. I hadn't left law enforcement yet. That came, I'd left law enforcement, come back for about 2 years. And then my husband my current husband now, we weren't together then, but he owned a gym. He owned a jujitsu gym. He was a black belt and had his own place.
Mm.
And he was the chief of police at the time. And he, for Christmas one year, gave all of the officers that worked under him free gym memberships to come train at the gym. That's what he gave us for Christmas. And he already gave us all a discount anyway, but none of us trained because cops are
Right.
lazy, and we just didn't want to do that. We'd rather
Go
drink
drink.
uh, Route 44 sweet teas and eat French fries, yeah, and go drink. So I was already sober by this point, but I knew this was a lot. I started jujitsu right after Ferguson happened. So I knew that my days were numbered. I'd managed to go my entire law enforcement career and never have to fight anybody. I was very good at my verbal judo. I could pretty much talk
Mhm.
anybody into the backseat of my police car,
Good.
with the exception of a drunk.
Yep.
If you know what I'm
No.
talking about, you can't rationalize with a drunk. So he gave us gym memberships. Me and one of other guy that we worked with took him up and started training because I knew that my days were numbered as far as right after Ferguson was going on, all the riots were happening everywhere. I was like, my people hate the cops.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
eventually going to get tested. I am a female. I'm small. I'm out of shape. Um, I got to do something. I don't know how to fight. I don't know how to protect myself. Every cop thinks they know how to fight until you actually have to fight.
Nah.
And
I
They
mean,
fight
you
with a
can't
chamber.
count on just the taser and the ass baton either. You need to
well,
actually.
that, well, if you think this is, we now teach law enforcement classes, my husband and I, we teach jujitsu to law enforcement, and it's a thing that we're very passionate about because 100% of arrests are hands on.
Yeah.
100%. If you are not fighting anybody straight out of the gate, they will pull away from you as soon as your gun is put up, your taser is put up, and you have to put handcuffs on them. And then guess what? Now we're fighting. You ain't
Yeah.
got nothing out. I ain't got nothing out. We're throwing down. And almost all fights go where? To the
To the
ground.
ground.
Very seldom do you ever see two people just standing up, slugging it out.
Right.
That is
That
very rare, you know? So ground fighting is a wonderful skill to have. I think it is a necessary skill to have. But my husband actually is who got us into it, and I took him up on it. I was like, hey, I'm going to come to the gym. I'm going to start training. I hated it. At the first, I absolutely hated it. Nobody likes to go and get folded up like a piece of paper. Nobody enjoys that. My body hurt. I ended up breaking a rib my first 6 months in. So I was out for 6 weeks. I've been injured a lot, actually, over the course of the years. I've torn LCLs in both knees. I mean, I've
From
been,
jujitsu?
yeah, yeah, from
So
training.
jujitsu is grappling basically, right?
It is.
yep.
Yeah, it's ground
And,
fighting.
and and positioning and leverage.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
A
Um,
lot of bars, a lot of pressure point control tactics mixed in with it, a little
mhm.
bit of everything.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. There's a lot of wrestling. There's a lot of there's throws that you can do. So there's some judo mixed in with it. We do a lot of I wouldn't say we do a lot of pressure points. We don't. Ours is more joint manipulation. We do a
Yep.
lot of joint manipulation, which helps a lot in law enforcement. That's a big one. And then obviously chokes, but a lot of police officers are not allowed to apply chokes. So
I think that was a mistake. That LV&R was one of the best tools y'all had.
it really was. And I mean, obviously you can use it in a life or death situation now. A lot of departments are okay with that,
I thought
using
they
it in a life
banned
or
it.
But for me, I tell everybody. I mean, I'm more. I'm 5'2". You know what I mean? If I fought a grown man that was 6'3",
You'd
two
have to
hundred and
climb
twenty
up on
pounds.
Mike's back.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those situations. I'm more justified in pulling my firearm than a full grown man in law enforcement. They're going to think, why did you shoot him? Why didn't you just fight him? I'm more justified. However, I feel more confident in my ability to fight than most men do.
Yeah.
So that's crazy to me. I think everybody should train. And I have seen it more times than not whenever we do these law enforcement classes. Everybody thinks that you can fight until you have to fight somebody that knows how to fight
Mhm.
for 5 minutes. And that that takes a lot out of you.
Yep.
You're gonna
You'll
Absolutely.
get
lose that fight if you're not trained in it. It just
you
you can
are.
if you don't knock them out in one punch. I taught my daughter half jokingly, half serious. I said, kick him in the nuts, ain't a dude gonna stand. I promise you. But you got to get that kick to the nuts, or else you're gonna be in
Hmm.
a fight. So
Yeah.
that's where your training comes in. Is after
Hmm.
the whole nut kick fails, and then you got to go to the ground and work.
Yes.
Nuts,
Uh,
nose, and throat.
We always do the eyes. Like we do the eyes, the throat, and the nuts. That's when we teach self-defense classes. Because I mean, what happens when you get poked in the eye? Your hands automatically go to it, and then
I'm coming in with something else when your hands go up.
Well,
uh-huh.
I'm guessing the nose is probably because I'm a guy, and if you've been hit in the nose like this one's been hit before, you can't see. I mean, you're tearing up.
Oh yeah.
Nobody
That
wants
right
to get
there
hit
to
in
the
the
face,
face. Yep.
the
I
Nobody
get
palm's
wants to get hit in the
dangerous.
face.
nobody. Not well, I mean, unless you train, and then that we train to get hit in the face.
Yep.
So that helps.
Yep.
There ain't nothing like seeing some of those videos on Instagram and stuff where you got them entitled people and the dude just comes around with a freaking palm to the face and the guy's on the ground. He's
Mhm.
out. It's over. One hit. Bye. Hold my
Yep.
beer. I'll be back in a second. Type of stuff.
That's it.
Exactly. I
Good
love
for
watching
you,
people get
man.
humbled.
That's awesome.
It brings me joy.
Hey, Robbie, I don't mean to cut on you, bro. And
Yep.
Christian, I would love to stay, but I am trying to get this couple in. I wish I could figure out how to do it, but I can't. But I'm trying to get this couple as a fireman, and they bought a house, and it was ate up with termites. And I'm sitting here at a freaking fine kitchen now. They got their quartz in. I got the wood beams built. I'm building the windowsills. I'm trying to get them in for Thanksgiving. And it's just a bad time for me. But I'm glad I was able to jump in here, Rob, to meet this young lady and
I'm
appreciate
glad
the
you
story.
came, and we can finish up just a one-on-one once you leave. So that's not a problem at all.
Yeah,
It was so
it's
nice to meet you.
absolutely. I'm gonna find you on the Facebook or whatever and connect, and we'll get with you for the barbecue October 17th. And I think Rob's
Yes.
gonna talk a little bit about it. But Robbie, we're gonna end up. I'm gonna keep about $3,500 in seed money. I got the $2,500 for the band. I've been paying out of pocket and reimbursing myself once the money comes in. And I'm keeping $600 for armbands. I got to pay insurance premium and stuff. But we're still going to write a check for over $20,000 to the Memorial Hospital
That
Foundation for Cancer this year.
that's exactly what I was going to ask. Inquiring minds
Yep,
want to know: did we get
yep.
over the $20,000
We
mark?
busted it. We
I
got it.
I will
I mean, we
certainly.
really blew it away because I've got like I said, I'm keeping the seed money. I got to pay half the deposit for the band.
Yep.
I got to pay half the fee to the band for the deposit,
Yep.
and so I'm going to save my own 2,500 this year. And Christian, we donate. I had throat cancer 3.5 years ago. I guess I can't remember. I guess 3 years ago. And I'm perfectly clear now. Although I did go get my face burned today. I don't know if you can see all of it. My
Hmm.
dermatologist gets on my butt. Uh, but so we do a barbecue in our backyard, and we raise money to help people who can't afford cancer treatment, cancer drugs, transportation to get it, um, everything associated with cancer. It's through a nonprofit through Memorial Hospital in Gulfport. And they do all the marketing and make flyers for me, and I use them for the 501(c)(3). I don't have to do anything. I just
Yeah.
literally, you pay me, I pay them, or people send checks direct to them. So the first year we did it, we wrote a check for a little over 13,000. Then last year we wrote a check for almost 16,000. This year we're going to write a check for over 20. So
Praise
we're
God.
yeah, we're pushing $50,000 in 3 years to help people fight cancer. So
Amen.
that's what this is. Um, so we'd love to have you next year.
I'd love to be there.
Proud of you. 8 years. I want to hear 9 years. I want to hear 10 years. Robbie, appreciate you doing this. And I promise you, I hate leaving, but I got to go.
All right.
We
Send me that
appreciate you. Thank
logo.
you.
Send me that logo. Yeah, Mike Pontius and I, we go back to, and we never worked at the same ambulance company. I was in
Uh-huh.
Biloxi at Mobile Medic. He was in Gulfport at AMR. But right in the middle, I was in West Biloxi, and he worked East Gulfport. So we always met up at the hospital, and we became fast friends. He's like, I think he's like 11 days older than I am. So we got a
Oh,
lot
wow.
in common.
That
But
is neat.
um, yeah, I appreciate you coming on the show. I did want to get into, and I wanted to do it when Mike was here, but he was so busy. Folks, the reason that Mike and them were having a problem is we aren't doing this at the normal time we do our recordings. Normally, we do it on a Tuesday evening when we're all sitting there drinking and getting talking and telling the stories, but we're recording today during the middle of the day. So he was actually at trying to work on a firefighter's house for him, helping him out getting set up. So sorry that we lost Mike, but hey, when you got a great guest like Kristen, I mean, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
I appreciate you making accommodations for me.
Oh, no, that's not a problem. I appreciate you coming on. One of the things I'm going to tell you is you are expected to come back. Now that you're part of the
Okay.
clique, now that you're part of the clique, I've got your graphics and everything. Whenever
Yeah.
we can do it again, I can plug you in and we can rock and roll.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because, like I said, finding folks from law enforcement that can come on, one,
Hmm.
you're actually active law enforcement. So I don't know how you end
Yes.
up being able to do this, but I'm glad that you are able to do this. Come on the show,
Hmm.
and my daughter is in here trying to FaceTime me right now, so
Oh,
I'm. I just answered it so she can see that I'm on here doing the podcast, and she will get back with me later, I'm sure. So
that
anyway, in
was
fact,
clever.
yeah, she just hung up.
She's like, oh, he's busy.
Yeah, you know what she was showing me? She was showing me that she was wearing her hoodie. She got one of the hoodies from the shop, and I need to mention that because I've yet to do it. The Getting 10-8 podcast actually has a shop now where you can pick up merch, and I'm wearing one right now, the Old Guard, Life Pack 5, and the kit that I carried, and of course the M30 backbreaker stretcher that we had back when I was on the truck. Did you deal with the old X frame stretcher?
Yes. Yeah. We had
Two,
two in our original ambulances.
yeah, the two person you got to pick it up. And
Oh
look,
yeah.
while you said you're 5'2", that's great. I'm 6 foot. As much as I'd have probably loved having you as a partner, I'd have been cussing about it too, because I could only lift it to your height, so I'm stooping
Hmm.
to match your height, and then we both get to do the military curl to get it up and into the back of the ambulance.
I mean, you become strong, you adapt and you overcome.
Yeah,
That's what we always,
we all look like Popeye. You know, our
yeah,
forearms were big. We had little bills.
huge.
Yeah, but our
Yeah.
forearms look like Popeye or the Bud Man. I don't know if you remember that cartoon
Hmm.
character. But look, I appreciate you coming on the show, and I hope you'll come back on and see us again.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I thank you for having me.
Hey, that's not a problem. Look, folks, thanks so much for joining us for this episode of Getting 10-8. And come back next week. We will be back, and there's no telling who we're going to have on as guests, but we will certainly see Tactical Tinkerbell back on the show again as soon as she'll come back on. Y'all take care, have a great week, and we'll catch you next week.